We're opening today a chapter that almost every skincare product keeps hidden: preservatives. They're in your cleansers, your moisturizers, your serums. Yet no one really talks about what they do or why they're needed. So let's lift the curtain and explore the science behind the ingredients that quietly keep your skincare safe.
Preservatives may be the most misunderstood ingredients in modern skincare. Some people fear them, others ignore them. But the truth is, without them, most formulas would become unsafe within days. Let's first understand the problem they're trying to solve. Every cosmetic containing water is vulnerable to microbial contamination. Bacteria, fungi, and molds can enter through raw materials, packaging lines, or even simply when you open the jar. And once microbes find water, they multiply fast.
This isn't just about product spoilage. Historically, contaminated cosmetics have caused real infections, including cases of blindness from eye products and even fatal bacterial contamination in powders. That's why preservation is a public health requirement, not a luxury.
Preservatives act by damaging the membrane of microbes, disrupting their metabolism, or preventing growth entirely. They're not there to nourish your skin. They're there to defend the formula. Think of them as tiny bodyguards working inside the bottle.
Some preservatives are simply solvents used in high concentrations. Ethanol, or phenoxyethanol, for example, can disrupt bacterial membranes through solvation. Phenoxyethanol is one of the most common choices in modern skincare formulas. Organic acids like benzoic or sorbic acid are accepted on strict positive lists in regions like the EU and Japan. They work best in acidic environments, which is why low pH formulas can rely on them efficiently.
Quaternary ammonium compounds, such as benzalkonium chloride, are potent antimicrobials, but they're incompatible with the anionic surfactants found in most cleansers, which is why they're rarely used in skincare preservation, despite their strength.
Some compounds act as true biocides, ingredients like triclosan or chlorhexylenol. Their regulatory status differs around the world, and their use in personal care is strictly controlled. These molecules target microbial metabolism at its core.
Preservatives trigger concern mostly because of allergic reactions. Specific molecules like MIT and MCIT became infamous after waves of contact dermatitis cases. But it's important to distinguish a problematic molecule from the entire category.
All preservatives carry some risk of irritation because their job is to stress microbial cells. But the actual frequency of severe reactions remains low compared to the billions of preserved products used yearly.
Preservatives are among the most tightly regulated cosmetic ingredients. Many regions use positive lists. Only certain preservatives are legally allowed, and only up to strict concentration limits. Every formula must pass challenge tests to prove protection against microbes.
A preservative can be weakened by its own formula. Fragrance, pigments, polysaccharides, even packaging materials can bind or absorb the active molecule, reducing its effectiveness. Formulators must anticipate every interaction. Even the packaging can reduce a preservative's performance. Rubber caps, porous plastics, or certain coatings can absorb part of the preservative into the material. That means less protection inside the formula. To guarantee safety, every preserved formula must pass a challenge test, a controlled contamination with known microbes. The lab then tracks how fast the preservative kills them. No pass, no product.
Sometimes a preservative is perfect on paper, but fails in real life. A tiny fragrance change, a new batch of raw material, or a pigment variation can destabilize the system and weaken antimicrobial protection.
Some preservatives only work at low pH, others at neutral pH. If the formula drifts during storage because of raw materials or packaging interactions, the preservative system may lose efficiency without anyone noticing.
Preservatives worry people because they're designed to stress living cells.
even if those cells are microbes. So, yes, they can irritate some skin types, especially if used at high concentrations or in unsuitable formulas.
In the 2010s, MIT and MCIT caused a global wave of contact dermatitis. This wasn't a failure of preservatives in general, but a failure of safety limits at the time. Today, regulations are much stricter, and their use is heavily restricted. Parabens have a controversial reputation, but scientifically, they remain among the preservatives with the lowest rate of irritation and allergic reactions. They're tightly regulated and used at extremely low concentrations. Encapsulation technologies, like microcapsules and liposomes, were first developed to stabilize fragile active ingredients, but they also indirectly reduce preservative stress by preventing actives from degrading and generating reactive byproducts. A stable formula needs fewer preservatives. The more oxygen, light, or heat-sensitive a product is, the more preservation pressure it requires. Good formulation reduces that burden. Some products claim to be preservative-free, but in most cases, they use ingredients that act as preservatives without being legally classified as such, like organic acids, glycols, or multifunctional molecules. The protection still exists. The label simply calls it differently. Products without water, like pure oils or balms, don't need classical preservatives because microbes need water to grow. But these formulas still require antioxidants to prevent rancidity. Every time you open a jar or pump a bottle, you introduce microbes from your hands, air, and environment. That's why preservation is essential. It protects the formula throughout its entire life, not just on production day. If a cosmetic formula were a fortress, the preservatives would be the moat keeping invaders out. They're not glamorous, they don't promise miracles, but without them, the castle falls. Preservatives aren't here to scare you. They're here because they protect every skincare product that contains water. The real question is not whether preservatives are good or bad, but whether they're used responsibly, at the right dose, and in the right formula. If you enjoyed this video and want to know more about the science behind your skincare products, subscribe to Cosmetoscope channel.